let them join. So before getting into the session, a quick introduction about myself. My name is Raju, and I've been into training. My total years of experience into IT comes around almost to 13 years, and especially into DevOps with cloud technologies like AWS, Azure, and GCP is around 8 years. And also, I've been into training various batches for various organizations, and looking out people who are enthusiasts to work with DevOps and cloud technologies and helping them out, to plan for their career, and been into training from almost 4.5 years. So that is some brief about me. And today's agenda that we have gathered over here is to, understand what is the training program that we are giving out as a part of this training, and how what would be the duration and what are the tools that we are covering as a part of this training program, and everything will be discussed. So before going and before getting into that, we need to understand certain terminologies, as well as we need to understand how, especially the DevOps, okay, how the DevOps term has come up, and how it has been evolved. What was the earlier stages, how the software development was happening, and how it has evolved into a faster phase, and then how it is going, and why it has been DevOps one is the important career path from past few years. Everything will be discussed, and how it works. Okay, so let me share my screen. And at the end of the session, we'll be having QA sessions. So do not worry. And if you have any doubts in between, just write it down, and then I can get it cleared at the end of the session. So, okay. So this is the course curriculum that will be, working, and that will be learning as a part of this training program for 2.5 months. And before going deep down into understanding what is the course curriculum, so let us understand how exactly, things work in DevOps, how exactly it has been evolved, and then how exactly we have come down to this particular path, especially with the combination of cloud technologies like AWS, and understanding what is cloud and other things. So imagine this: in the olden days, we do have certain methodologies that software companies follow. Okay, so what are those methodologies? Was your waterfall models and agile models. Okay, before going to agile, let us understand what exactly a waterfall model is, and basically how software company functions, its deliverables to deliver the software. So most of you have already aware how softwares are being developed, right? So first it comes out with an idea. A customer or a client comes out with an idea and approaches a software company, and it might be a web application, it might be a website, or it might be a .NET application, whatever application. It starts with an idea. So once the idea has been generated for the market purposes, basically the customers or clients will approach software companies. And what does this software companies do is they try to sit down and talk to each other and understand what is the client requirement, what exactly he's looking out. That is your conceptualizing the idea, and preparing a proper documentation what exactly we require. And after that, the next step would be getting into agreements, like service level agreements. Now what happens with this getting into agreements part is the end client and the software company get into an agreement on a standard procedures, that the software company says that I'm charging you this much of money for developing your idea into a web application or something like that. And at the same time, there will be a timeline, like how many months we take to deliver this product to you. Like, say example, 6 months. And in this 6 months, they have already have utilized around 15 days for conceptualizing. And the next step after the service level agreement starts is your initiation of the project. Okay, so you gather all your team members. By the time it would be finalized, like what programming language we want to use to develop this application, or we want to develop this idea, and how what is the roadmap, and what is the deadline to deliver this particular product. Now, the third step would be Once this conceptualize and initialization analysis is done, next part is designing. Okay, so how the interface has to be there and how it has to look like, what are the themes and other parts that related to the application, how it has to appear, everything will be designed, all the frameworks will be designed. That will be the fourth step. So various teams are coming up in each and every step. Okay, in the first step there will be delivery managers, there will be country heads and deliverable managers who are conceptualizing this, and then BD team again. Likewise, each and every team has a unique interference with a step. Once the design is done, the fourth important step is your development. That's where software developers comes into picture. Based on the design that has been given by the design team, they start writing the code. It may be, and we're talking in general, it can be any programming language. It can be Java, .NET, Ruby, Python, C Sharp, whatever programming language they have decided to develop this application. The developers related to that particular programming knowledge, they'll start writing the code. And then once the code is ready, or once they have developed the application, next comes the testing team. So they have to test it on various platforms, various environments, various operating systems, various devices, whether this particular application is working fine or not, and how it works, whether it is working fine, or all sort of testing processes comes into picture. Finally, the deployment, that is your deliverable part, where you are deploying the application to the end client, so that the customers of the client can start using the application. But if you have observed, what exactly this happened is, everything is step by step process. Okay, everything is step by step process. If one team is working on design, the development teams are working on something else, and they do not know what exactly is coming up next. And also, when the developers are working on the code, the testing team was working on different part, and they were not knowing that coming up there is another project that is coming up that they'll be testing. So this step by step process has created a lot of communication gap between various teams. Okay, so instead of delivering the application within 6 months, they have taken time around up to 1 year. So do you think that you promise a customer or end client that you will be designing and developing an application or software to him in 6 months, and then you say that, boss, sorry, we need 6 more months because there is some things that we have to yet finish, and then we'll be able to deliver it. Obviously, first thing is, your end client will lose trust on you, and again, it clearly shows that the methodology that they followed has a lot of communication gaps between various teams, right? And that is the reason you are taking more time, and the customer, the client will lose his market, because by the time a similar kind of product is available in the market from his opponents, obviously he loses the market. So there are a lot of things that happens over here if you are not delivering your software on time to the end clients. So what is the solution for this? How we have to eliminate this part, and how we have to slowly evolve by applying waterfall model, how we have to evolve. That's where the agile came into picture. Okay, the agile methodologies help you to create in iterations. Okay, to create or to deliver your software in iterations. So what do you mean by iteration? As a single cycle. So here, how this eliminates the communication gap, as well as how this will be, on time deliverable to the end clients, whatever you have designed or developed the code. It's the concept of working in agile is, you work parallelly, you work along parallelly with all the teams. Okay, and also, as I said, iteration, right? So iteration is nothing but a single cycle of a part of your software development. What do you mean by that? So if you have observed your mobile phones, or your applications that you are installed on your PCs or laptops, anytime have you observed there will be a version number that comes with a specific application? If you observed, that's good. So every time you are installing an application on your mobile phone, if you go to Play Store and select that app, and if you see the app, it comes with a version number. Okay, so there is some important significance to this version. Okay, so what is the major version, what is the minor version, and what are the bug fixes or hot fixes. So these three indicates three different numbers in your version. Okay, so if you have observed your applications, it starts with version 1.0.2, 3.1 dot something 7. Likewise, it's a three digit version, and it has a significance important. Okay, only people who in the software industry who are especially working on this part will be understanding that. So the first number indicates the major version. Okay, so what do you mean by major version? So right now I have designed an application, say example a Facebook kind of application, and this is the first time I'm introducing that into the market. So I've worked around 1.5 years on this particular application, and I'm delivering it now. I'm launching it so that people start using it. So my current version of this particular application, which I'm taking to the end customers, would be my first release, that is initial release, and my version number would be 1.0.0. Okay. Now the application is in the market. People have started using it for up to 6 months or 7 months. Now there are a lot of feedback that is coming back to me. Okay. Some people have issues that it is not working in iPhone. Some people are having issues that it is not going to another page where they're trying to click. In some pages, the navigation buttons are not working. Some devices, and in some laptops or iPads devices, it is not opening up properly. It is taking longer time. Likewise, a lot of feedback, a lot of complaints are coming to me. Okay. Now, what is my first priority is immediately I have to fix all this. What are the problems that we had? Of course. So there might be a question: why didn't you test it before putting it into the market, or why did you check whether all these things are happening earlier? Of course, it's a software, right? So if it is working fine, yes, it works fine. If it does not work, it does not work. So that's how it is. So in the testing time, everything was working fine. Everything, whatever test we did on devices, operating systems, different type of devices, Android, iOS, everything was working fine. So that is the reason we put it into the market. But later, people started using it based on the device usage. It is having so many issues. Now, my main goal after releasing my first iteration, that is my first version of application, is two things. One is I have to take care of all the customer complaints, what they're facing with the application. The second is I need to introduce new features into my application. That is my actual plan. That was the actual plan. So the features keep on increasing in each and every applications because my competitors are giving out the same features. So I want to have some features. So how does these two goals can be achieved? One is resolving the bugs in the application. The other one is adding new feature to the same application. Now what I do is I try to fix on one part. I am trying to fix all the bug fixes, hot fixes, whatever issues they're having. And second thing, I'm also adding up a new feature to the application, and I finish testing it and then release another version of application. Okay, another version of application into the market. That's where we get notified there is a new update or a new version of the application is available. It may be operating system, it may be a mobile. We get notifications, right? There is an update on this. You have to update it. And while updating, if many of you just click the update button and then don't observe anything, the first thing that comes in mobile devices or especially in operating system devices is it gives you some information. Okay, one is what are the bugs that it has fixed in the newer version, and what are the new features that they're releasing. Next time if you observe, you'll try to understand this. So in the first one, I'm pointing out to all the bug fixes that I've received from my customers. And other important information is along with fixing these bug fixes, I'm also releasing a new feature to this particular version. So these two things are completely, given out to the customer, and later it gets updated. Okay. So now this second version, what I've done is if I have taken some hot fix or bug fixes that has been fixed within 15 to 30 days or 45 days, then my last digit only would change in that three digit category. But if I've taken time from 3 months to almost 1 month to 3 months, only my second digit changes. But I've taken around 6 months. So it is another iteration. So it is a newer version. Now I'm releasing the version as version 2.0.0. Okay. So this is the basic thing that we need to understand while working with applications, the version numbers especially. Always remember the first digit indicates your major release, which has taken around 6 months of time or 6 months to 1 year. The second digit indicates your minor release, okay, which has taken like 1 month to 3 months. The third digit indicates your hot fix or bug fixes, which has been fixed like 50 to 30 days or 1 month of time. So this is how the agile iterations, okay, all the teams are working together, and then they're releasing newer versions of applications while trying to figure out the hotfix or issues with the application, as well as adding up new features. Okay, now these are two methodologies we have discussed. One was old, that is was waterfall model. Now agile model is in present. And where does this DevOps comes into picture? Okay, so if you observe over here, even in agile methodology, the design team and the construction over here, which is nothing but development, is working separately, and testing team are working separately. Okay, again, still we have a lot of communication gap between only the development team and operations teams. And also, instead of giving it in cycles like iterations, like major release, minor release, why can't we go with continuously deploying the application without any specific specific timeline, as well as automation? How can we introduce automation? That's how the the development teams, the dev, and ops from the operations teams has been combined with a pinch of automation. The DevOps has evolved. Okay, earlier it was only agile. Now, how do you achieve DevOps? Many people who are not into industry, who are not into domain, basically they get confused. Okay, that DevOps is also another technology. Okay, don't get me wrong. That is completely wrong. Okay, basically DevOps is not a technology. DevOps is not a standard, book-bound technology. Like if you take Java, from chapter 1 to chapter 10, it is book bound. Okay, so if you go to one institute or one college, they teach Java from chapter 1 to chapter 10. If you go to another college, they teach you Java, that is from chapter 1 to chapter 10. So it is book bound, it does not change, it does not deviate, but because it's a technology. But here, DevOps is not a technology. Please keep that in mind. Many people who have well prepared for interviews also will fall for this trick question. So, what is DevOps? So, when they start saying that DevOps is a technology, new that technology, this technology. Basically, DevOps is not a technology. But what is DevOps? DevOps is methodology. Okay, and DevOps is a culture where software companies are adapting to make sure that the deployment or deliverables are done in a smoother, faster, and continuously. Okay, it's a mindset of how people are working to design, develop, test it, and then deploy it, and then monitor and operate it in the organizations. Okay, so what they're doing, of course, at the end of the day, it's a software they're developing, but these things are the mindsets how they're doing it. That's what DevOps is all about. Okay, so you always have to remember this. DevOps is a mindset or culture that organizations adapt for seamlessly deploying or delivering applications, software applications. Okay, now there are certain phases in DevOps. Okay, as I said, again, it goes through the cycle. There are certain phases in DevOps, and to achieve that, in each and every phase, we have different tools that comes into picture. So let us understand what exactly these tools are. Let us understand, how these tools comes into various places. Now, in the DevOps, as I said, it starts only in the development and testing part, right? So let us understand how a development starts. So development starts when you start writing the code, right? You have to write the code, and then the developers will write the code, and this code is maintained, and we have to have something in common to maintain the center of code. So how does you achieve this maintaining the source code? That is the first step in DevOps is your source code management. Okay. So how you are handling your source code. The reason of for this source code management, why we need is nowadays the development teams are globally present. Okay, earlier it was different. Now they are globally present. Some developers are working from India, some are working from US, Canada in the time zone. Some are working. Likewise, developers are working from multiple zones. So you need to have a common place where all the code has to be present. That's what, in a simple terms, we call source code management. Okay, and to achieve this source code management as a first step, we have so many tools in the market. Okay, that is uh, version control systems like Git, GitHub, okay, SVN, Tortoise SVN. Likewise, we have so many tools that will help you for source code management. Next is your build process. So this is one of the important concept where many people get development part. So what exactly build process is? Your developers have written the code. At the end of the day, they have to run this code, compile it, and make it into an executable package. Okay, so what do you mean by that? Now I have written 100 lines of code that it performs certain functionality. Now, if I want to share this, if I want to deliver this to my customer, I do not want to give this 100 lines of code. Okay, instead of what I do is I compile my code. Okay, I compile my code and build it into an executable package. That's what we all has been using all the days. Okay, if you take Windows operating system, you download .exe files. Those are nothing but packages. If you are using Android phones in the from the App Store, you are downloading .apk files. It is another package or artifact, you can say. And for MSI, .NET applications, .msi, .war files, web application archive files. These are all nothing but packages. That is where how it goes into build process. Okay, so that's where the second step, that is a build process, happens. Okay, so the next part comes is your in the DevOps cycle. Why I'm not going with the other images is, first I want to make you understand how things work, and then once the build process is done, okay, where you're generating the artifacts, we need to continuously test it. Okay, and after testing it, the next step would be releasing it to the market or deploying it, and then the delivery happens, and then we continuously monitor that and take feedback from the end customers. Okay, uh, so this is how a simple cycle. And now in each and every phase, there are certain set of tools that comes into picture. As I was talking about source code management, we have GitHub. For build process, based on programming languages, different tools comes into picture. Like if you're building a Java application, we have Maven, Gradle. If you have .NET applications, we have MS Build, and we are working on Python. We have a different build tool for Python. Likewise, based on programming language, different build tools comes into picture. Now, next for deploying or releasing, also there are certain set of tools that comes into picture. Likewise, in each and every stage, there are so many tools that comes into picture. Okay. Now imagine this: a company called HCL is using DevOps. Okay. When based on the requirement, based on their resources, they go with different set of tools. Okay. For source code management, they may be using different set. For CI/CD, that is continuous development and integration, they might be using different tools, and for deliverables, they'll be using different tools, and for operating, that is monitoring and continuous feedback, they might be using different tools. So if you come to know what are the tool list that HCL is using, it does not mean that even IBM or Microsoft, Apple, every company will use the same set of tools. Okay, it is not that simple. Okay, every organization will have their own mindset, their own culture of DevOps, and their own tool sets that they adopt based on their resource availability and their resources experiences as well. Okay, a simple format. It is not a single formula or a textbook formula of DevOps that every organization only uses this set of tools. Okay. Now let me show you the number of tools that we have available to implement DevOps. Okay, that is the reason I haven't shown you. First, I want to make you understand. So if you observe this page, this is the DevOps cycle, like plan, build, continuously integrate, deploy, operate, and then continuously get the feedback, and again plan for the bug fixes and new features, again build, continuous integration, deploy. Now if you see over here, in each and every stage, if you see in the plan stage, these many tools are available for you in the market to achieve that. Okay, and if you see over here for the build process, you could see there are so many tools that are available that can be used for building the artifacts or compiling the code. Similarly, if you see for continuous integration over here, we have so many tools like Jenkins, Travis CI, Circle CI, okay, TeamCity, CodeShip. Likewise, we have so many tools. And for deployment, again, we have Ansible, AWS, cloud services, re-release, configuration management. Also, we have so many tools over here. And for operating, again, the monitoring and logging, we have Nagios, Splunk, New Relic, Dynatrace, Datadog. And for continuous feedback, again, we have so many, platforms that are available for taking feedback from the customers like Zoho CRM, ServiceNow, Intercom. Likewise, these many tools, just simple tools that I'm sharing over here, we have so many hundreds of tools that can be used to achieve. That is the reason DevOps, in the first place, I said, is not a definitive technology. It's the mindset and culture. If my team in my company, there are only people who knows is talking about CI/CD like Jenkins. If I have resources who are very much experienced in Jenkins, I'll be using Jenkins tool. If they don't know about TeamCity, I cannot ask my resources to learn TeamCity and implement it. They're already having experience in Jenkins. Yes, I'll go with Jenkins CI/CD. And in another organization, they have resources or their requirement is to use only TeamCity as their CI tool. So obviously, the other company will hire resources who are experienced in TeamCity and they'll be using TeamCity as their CI. So that is the reason DevOps does not have any definitive technology. It's a mindset, culture. Okay, how organizations adapt to implement this cycle, the DevOps cycle. What are the tools that they use? Everything changes. Okay, now coming to the other part, the important part is cloud. Now you need to understand, previously every organization used to have their own data centers. So what do I mean by data centers is maintaining racks of servers to host the application, and then combine it with various networking configs and maintain it so that every customers can connect to that applications and run. But with the introduction of cloud, everything has changed. And again, adding up with the DevOps combined with any cloud technology has become super powerful. Okay, now let's leave about the DevOps part. We understood what exactly DevOps is. Before going into curriculum, let us understand a little bit of cloud as well. So what exactly this cloud technology is all about? Okay, everybody are talking about cloud, cloud, cloud. What exactly cloud is? Simple statement. If somebody asks you who does not have any knowledge in IT, or who does not, even if you want to make them understand what is cloud technology is, down the lane, if you go to 8 to 10 years back, or where the internet was not available this much like how we are using right now in our graduation or pre-graduation or post-graduation, if you see in our cities or towns or we used to have internet cafe centers. Many people must remember this. So what is the purpose of this internet centers is people who does not have resources, like who does not have computer or who does not have internet connection. They have computer but they do not have internet connection. So what do we do? So there is a requirement that I have to research some papers, print it, and then make it into a record or something in my due to for my graduation or pre-graduation, something like that. So what we do, generally we go to the internet cafe center, we register ourselves. In the book we write our details, everything, and the internet cafe guy will allocate a cubicle for us. We use for 1 or 2 hours, and then we come out, we pay him, and then we go back home. Our work is done. So what exactly happened over here? On demand compute power you got. That is, whenever you required, the internet cafe guy has provided you with internet and system resources. That was on demand. Okay, your compute power, you got it. Now imagine you used it for 2 hours, you paid for him 2 hours, and then you came back. Cloud is also nothing but, in a simple statement, on demand compute power over the internet. Simple as that. Okay, on demand, whenever you required compute power. Okay, like any size of virtual machine with 100 GB RAM, or you want to test something, or you want to work on something, whatever services it is. Okay, on demand compute power over the internet. So in the first place, physically you have visited the internet cafe center, but in cloud you can take it from your web browsers in your mobile or laptop if you have an internet connection. That is on demand compute power over the internet. As simple as that. Okay. So here also, whatever services you use, okay, whatever services you take from the service provider, it may be AWS, Azure, or GCP, how much time you have used it, and you have to pay for it. Okay, that's how it works. Simple as that. With the combination of cloud with to DevOps, the powerful combination has evolved so much that almost all organizations have adopted this combination. The reason is, and especially AWS. Why AWS? Because in 2006 itself, they started giving out their first service called S3. Okay, in 2006. Okay, I don't know how many of you have graduated at that point of time, but in 2006 itself, they started, and they are the first players in the market to provide cloud services to public. So, whoever required, they can take their services, use it, and then pay for the usage, how much time they have used it. So that is the reason AWS becomes so powerful in the market, and they are the major players, like almost capturing 70 to 75% in the market, followed by Microsoft Azure and GCP, which they are also gaining the market caps. Okay. Now, how does this combination work? Okay. Now, if you want to implement DevOps, you have to run this application somewhere, right? It has to be some server where this applications has to be running, and you have to utilize them, obviously, right? If it is your on-premises data center, there is a lot of things that has to be taken care of. Okay, you have to maintain your own data center, right? So all the security features physically, and you know, the things has to be taken care of. You have to take care of your networking part. Okay, so that for taking care of networking part, you have to hire network engineers, and you have to maintain your servers. For this, you have to hire systems engineers. Okay, and you have to maintain your operating systems. And for again for this, you have to hire system admins, and later all these things has to be taken care. Zero downtime. You have to maintain zero downtime of electricity and network. So all these things is a has to be taken care by the company itself. But if you shift this to cloud, you need not require to worry about anything. Okay, everything they'll maintain, every part they'll take care of, and they'll also give you an SLA of giving you 99.9% SLA, which means you'll not get even a single downtime of any of the resources. Even if it is, you'll be beforehandedly informed, and also they'll make sure that your application downtime is not affected, especially with the cloud. So that is the reason this combination of DevOps with AWS has become so powerful, and it has also opened up for various opportunities with high packages. Okay, I can say a person who has experience with 4 plus years into DevOps is hiring more than 14 to 15 lakhs in the current basics market rate. And if it is not the service based companies, if they're product based companies, I've seen my students who got hired just with 3 years of experience with DevOps with AWS for around 17 lakhs. So it's possible in product based companies. So that is the reason we have to this training program has been prepared in such a way that another important point I want to discuss is, so this is your course curriculum, which I think it's already been shared with you. What are all the different tools that we'll be learning as a part of DevOps cycle and AWS as well, and also various tools like Linux commands. Why Linux? Almost all organizations are using their servers on the Linux operating systems. We'll be seeing why Linux, why not Windows servers or Windows machines or any other operating systems. We'll be seeing in depth. Okay, as it is a demo, I do not want to consume more time. And yeah, the first cycle will be understanding the basics of DevOps, understanding in depth, detailed about waterfall model and agile model, and how the DevOps have evolved. What is DevOps software development lifecycle? What are the roles and responsibilities we'll be performing? We'll be understanding that in the first sessions. Later, we go with understanding Linux. Do not worry if you are not familiar with Linux. I'll be giving you from basic level to mid level to advanced level, okay, which will help you to become as a Linux regular user, not the administration. Okay, not the Linux administration. This is not about Linux administration. Even in real time, we do not work on Linux administration part except some requirements. Next comes your version control. As I said, everything the DevOps cycle starts with source code management. We'll be learning about Git and GitHub, how you maintain our source code repositories, and how we'll be learning all these tools. And then build tools will be learning as a Maven, as we have a Java based projects that will be working real time projects. So we'll be learning Maven and its cycles. Again, Maven is a build tool. And application servers. Once the build tool is done, once we have generated the artifact, we have to deploy the application somewhere and perform, check, test it, right? So we'll be learning as a part of, we'll be learning application servers. And in CI tool, Jenkins. Why Jenkins? Is Jenkins, again, along with the evolution of DevOps and other tools, Jenkins is the oldest tool. Of course, not the oldest. Of course, they have their own versions of updates, because it has been used for so many from so many years. Many, almost all the organizations, like 80% of the organizations, are still using Jenkins. So we'll be learning Jenkins as a part of CID. And code quality analysis tools, SonarQube will be learning, and Artifactory repositories, where we'll be storing our build artifacts, will be learning as a part of. See, these are all various stages of the DevOps cycle, and in each and every stage, one tool will help you out to perform that stage. Okay, it's simple as that. And yeah, again, microservices. Nowadays, it has become, in the olden days, everything was monolithic architecture. So, what do you mean by monolithic architecture? Whenever an application in software terms like front end, back end, database, everything is combined in a single server. And if that server crashes, everything is gone. But here, microservices will help you out to isolate this, okay, for the front end, back end, and the database into individual units and broken down into microservices. Even if one service is down, the other two are not affected. So we'll be discussing in detail what exactly this microservices, and to attain microservices, will be learning Docker and Kubernetes. And then comes the configuration management, that is your Ansible. Okay. And then the ticketing tool Jira. Why ticketing tool Jira is, again, it is one of the Atlassian product, most popular product. Almost all organizations have this, like 90% organizations are using, not only for ticketing, the tracking, for project maintaining and tracking of everything. And then finally, we'll be learning AWS, that is cloud topics, like which are important for you to implement the DevOps cycles, and what are the important services that we'll be learning as a part of this training program. And finally comes the infrastructure as code tool. Okay, this particular tool is actually, it comes as a part of your DevOps cycle, but again, if you take it out separately, individually, it has its own cycle. Okay, so as a part of infrastructure as code, we'll be learning Terraform as well, and we'll be working with various other tools and that required to implement the projects. Okay, and yeah, this is about the training curriculum. Coming, another important thing that I have to give you is, this particular training program has been designed in such a way that, okay, we are concentrating more on practical knowledge rather than theoretical knowledge. Why? The reason is, see, theoretical knowledge, to get theoretical knowledge, you need not require a person like me or somebody, some trainers to give you the theoretical knowledge. Nowadays, everybody has smartphones. If you just Google it, what you want, you get it. Okay, so that's not a big deal. But the practical knowledge is more important than theoretical part. Just imagine this: you have just have 100 out of 100 theoretical knowledge. You have, you're appearing for an interview. Now, the questions are scenario based questions and real time questions. Okay, how an application fails when you deployed it to production. So let me put it this way: being a DevOps engineer, you have worked for 4 years. Of course, this you have a theoretical knowledge. The question is, you have, as a DevOps engineer, you've been working from 4 to 5 years. In your experience, what is the biggest challenge that you have faced? That is one question you can expect. The other tricky question that they may ask you, I'm just giving out, these are the not exact questions. It depends from organization to organization, requirement to requirement, it changes. They'll ask you that scenario based questions like, imagine that I've deployed an application into Kubernetes cluster. It was working fine. Suddenly, the parts are gone, or completely the environment is down, and the customers are complaining that they're not able to access, and it is a production environment. So, how do you fix it? What are the steps that you take? Okay. Now, If you have theoretical knowledge, you would say, okay, fine, I'll look out for some logs and then find the solution for it and then redeploy it. But a theoretical question ends there. But what they're expecting you is to give them a brief about what are the steps that you take step by step, as if you have really worked on it and you have seen them, and that is the solution. So always remember, only 40% of theoretical knowledge will help you in interviews. Only 40% will help you to answer some questions, because the remaining 60 to 70% of the questions will be from the real world, real time application processes, and scenario based questions that have actually happened. Okay. And to gain that knowledge, we have to have a lot of practical knowledge. We have to practice, we have to see them, we have to deploy them. And one important suggestion from my end to people who are learning, or who are looking out for learning, not only DevOps with AWS or any technology. Okay, my way of my way, and also I suggest to people is, whenever you are planning to learn something, either it may be IT or non-IT, Java or any technology, if you have executed it the first time and you got success, and do not stop over there and think that, okay, I have executed this and it is success and I know this part. No, you are wrong. Instead of that, you execute it with various changes, see multiple errors, learn those errors, resolve those errors, and then you'll know that particular topic, you have learned it. You have to see the 360 degrees of that particular topic, not just by seeing past, or not just by seeing cleared. Uh, you know, you cannot get that knowledge. So this training program from Kalyan IT Hub, we have designed this, curated this program in such a way that you'll get theoretical part like 30 to 40%, and 60 to 70% will be practical knowledge. So that along with practical knowledge, I will also, whenever we are dealing with the topics like Git, once with the Git is done, whenever there is an important topic that is coming, I'll also giving you the interview inputs. Okay, what kind of questions you can expect on this particular topic. Okay, like if you see creating branches in Git over here. Okay, the first real time questions that you face. Okay, they'll not ask you, do you know branches? What are Git branches? Or have you created Git branches? They'll not ask you this. They'll ask you, what is the branching strategy that you have applied, or what is the branching strategy that you are already experienced with? Okay, this is the interview question. Likewise, whenever we are handling with topics, I'll make sure I'll be giving you some interview inputs as well. You can, keep noting down those key points and prepare the notes as well. And along with it, I'll also be sharing various resources like study materials that required, what the commands that we execute over here, any specific solutions that we find while implementing. If you're stuck somewhere, how did we resolve this kind of step by step procedure, whatever we put, everything will be shared with you. So by end of this training program, you will be industry ready, that you can go ahead and as a fresher or as an experienced guy, you can go ahead and appear for the interviews, and then you can clear it. Okay. So yes, guys, I'll stop the session over here. So the course duration part is around for 2.5 months, give or take. It may take 10 to 15 days more or less, because sometimes we may get holidays, or sometimes we'll have certain issues with network. I may not be able to join 1 or 2 days, or likewise. So the total duration would be 2.5 months. Okay. And any other questions related to payment, you can check with the management related to your today's demo and the tools that we'll be discussing, and how we start these things, how other processes, you can ask one by one. So it's complete online program starting from Monday to Friday. So it's completely online, and also we might be having an WhatsApp group, or my number will be shared with everyone once enrollment has been done. So whenever you're practicing, not only in the session timings, whenever you're practicing, you got stuck somewhere, you can directly coordinate in the group, or directly ping me that this is what I'm facing, how to resolve this. Everything I'll be able to help you out. In the duration of the course. Okay. So now taking the count, we have around 21 people, leaving me and Kalyan team. So one by one, you can raise your hand and you can unmute yourself, and you can get your hands, get your queries cleared. Abdul Rashid, yeah, go ahead, man. One by one, you can go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
first of all, I want to tell that your explanation and everything is very, very, very understandable, and also I feel that you are very professional in this DevOps. So I want to ask you some several questions because by choosing this course we can understand how to costing because we want to if some software. Some clients approaches us for a particular application we want to do the cost how many cost we want to charge for from the client. So is it possible by this by this course?
Sorry, can you come again? I didn't get. I got your question. So whenever your customers clients ask you what they
Yeah,
what they
we want to calculate the cost of that particular application or software, whatever it is. So, by through this agile methodology or something like that, is there any idea for calculating that cost, total cost of that, total value or total money of that particular software?
Mm-hmm.
So that we will get that knowledge by using this by selecting this course. We will
Yeah.
get. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Let
Okay,
me
sir.
answer that, Abdul. So you, I
Yeah.
think you're from Kerala,
Yes, sir.
Malayalam.
Yeah, yeah, the Malayalian, sir.
Okay, fine. So the basically all these tools that we'll be learning as a part of this training program are open source. Okay, open source in the sense that we do not get charged for it. Okay,
Mm.
but that also comes with certain limitations. Organizations, many of the organizations, some may use open source, but many of them they do not encourage using open source because when open source is when you're taking something for free, you do not know what happens next. Okay.
Mhm.
So every tool also has licensed versions. So whatever
Okay.
tools we're talking about, it may be Git, Jenkins, Maven, they also have licensed versions of it.
Okay.
So organizations only go with licensed versions, and the licensed versions cost can be available in the tool documentation itself. Okay, so
Mm.
we need not require to worry about calculating it. They will be fixing it to a certain price, and it will be available on the specific tool. So you can suggest if you're trying to implement this on the licensed version, you can directly suggest from the uh, source itself. So we did not require to worry about that.
Okay. Okay. Sir,
Got
and
my point?
yes, sir, I understand. Understand. Yeah, sir, I have six more questions. So you told that we are covering the Maven, and then Maven we are using Java, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
why? Because I searched several Udemy and several tutorials before I come coming to that this program. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody is mentioning that one with the Java or Python. Why they are not mentioning that in Node.js or JavaScript like that? Is there any limitation by doing JavaScript or Node.js application, something like that?
Okay, okay. Let me answer you this. Guys, please remember, I mean, everybody, please listen to this. It's a good question, actually. Second important part is why Java? Okay, so right now, Python is booming and other Ruby, other programming languages are booming. But from the initial days, every product that we have is written in Java, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
So majority of the applications are written in Java. So that is the reason everybody, not only me, Udemy or YouTube or any instructor, will try to give you the majority of the programming languages which are being used. Okay. Rather than that, if I train you in this training program, say one example, I'll give you this. Other example, I'll give you another part. One example is if I train you guys only on Node.js, okay, with
yeah,
a different build tool,
yeah,
so you are eligible to companies who are using Node.js with a specific build tool, right?
yeah,
So that will limit your availability for the interviews.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're getting my point.
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
Okay, that is one method. Another important thing that you have to remember is when you have this many tools, but we are particularly picking up one tool and we are learning in one place, right? So
Mm.
how does it will help you? Simple logic. Okay. So, Abdul, don't mind me asking this question. Okay. It might be looking silly, but I'll make you understand.
Yeah, yeah,
So, do you know how to, four wheeler, how to drive four wheeler?
yeah, yeah.
So, while, learning this driving, so in which four wheeler you have learned?
Yeah, that time I Maruti, I think.
Maruti.
Yeah.
Right now, currently, you're running any car with you?
Yeah, that is Silo, Mahindra.
So, yeah, imagine this.
Yeah.
Maruti Suzuki is the application that you have learnt, but
Yeah.
you are still able to run Mahindra vehicle, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Similarly, all these tools, the implementation, integration, and execution is same.
Oh,
Only
okay.
minor changes comes with configurations.
Okay.
So if you learn Jenkins, the CI/CD part, you
Mm.
still in the new organization, if they ask you to run GitLab CI/CD or GitHub Actions or Travis CD, Team CD, you just need to understand the configurations. But still, you know how the CI/CD process work, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That is the reason we are picking up the most used tools in the organizations. Okay.
Yeah.
Rather than going with a specific tool from the industry standards, we are going with a majority of the tools that are being used by organizations. So that is the reason we have these tools.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sir, I have some more, three more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
We do have done. We do have
Yeah,
time. Don't worry.
yeah, sir. Actually, I am a 4 years experience in MERN Stack development. So when we commit some code to that GitHub, the people, that CTO merge that particular code suddenly. It isn't GitHub. The code, everything will be in GitHub, but suddenly it will affect that AWS. How it's happen? How so? That one also we will learn how to do all those that kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, okay. Okay, I got it. So that one more thing, sharding and scaling. That is the complete feature of AWS or DevOps. It's related to which one?
Sorry. One was scaling and other one is
Sharding.
sharding.
Yeah. Sharding means, in my knowledge, that's I learned from that. If more than 250 users come in a server in a request, an API request come with the 250. So yeah, so we can set it like that. That theory says that again to one 500 request is coming, it will create a particular cloud space, virtual space for that one.
Okay,
So
fine.
it
Yeah,
will,
okay, got it, got it. So you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about scalability and availability, which
yeah.
is kind of concept in the load balancing that comes in AWS.
Oh,
Yes, we'll be learning that as well.
okay, okay. Finance and also, sir, one more question. My last question is, in that syllabus we are mentioned that the bootstrap, because actually bootstrap is for designing a mobile application, responsiveness of that one. So why we? That's my doubt. Why in bootstrap we mentioned that in the
See,
AWS?
as a part of this training program, we'll be working on multiple projects, okay, for deployment based
Okay.
on the tool integration and tools availability. And so at that point of time, see, for Git, Maven, and Jenkins, we may be working with Java. In Docker and Kubernetes, we completely go out and work on Node.js applications. It depends. So that is the reason they have mentioned that as a
Okay.
part of learning curve that comes into picture, but we are not completely learning bootstrapping and we are not learning any website development over here. We are not part of any development program. Okay. And yeah, go ahead with the other
Yeah,
question.
and also I am a Windows user, not a Linux. I don't know anything about Linux, so it will affect this course, or it will be delay or something like that. I
No,
want to
don't
know.
worry, because the first initial stage itself will be learning Linux. Okay. So you
Okay,
can see over here, I'll be making you understand from advanced level, sorry, basic level to mid level to advanced level, how much knowledge is required in Linux to implement DevOps. That knowledge I'll give you. Do not worry on that.
okay, sir. Thank you. That is only from my side. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your explanation.
Okay, guys, Anuradha.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. So the basic question I do have is like recently I'm working as a application support
Okay.
and yeah, and GCP cloud base.
Okay.
So I know like Linux, SQL. So you have mentioned that you are going to uh, train us on shell scripting and all these things, right?
Yes.
So I do have like one. I don't know. Might be this is some of the silly question. It might be, but I have that question. Like as I'm working as a application support,
Mm-hmm.
so I know like how we are interact with developers or the other things. But what is the exact role of DevOps team or the DevOps engineer? What exact they do? Like as I know, the DevOps means the development part and the operation part
Mm-hmm.
included in this. So, what exact work DevOps engineer do?
So
Is it
basically,
is it like a
okay.
support or what?
Okay.
That
So basically, again, that's another important question that you should be asking. We will be acting as a bridge for developers and operation teams. Okay, let me put it in another statements as well. As a DevOps engineer, so whatever developers are writing the code, my responsibility is to take that code, either it's manually or automated, to make sure this code has been properly compiled, built into an artifact, and then it is deployed to the operation teams successfully. And if there are any issues pertained over here, my responsibility is to resolve it, so that to make sure this smooth transition is happening, I have to act as a bridge between the development teams and operation teams. Now imagine you have deployed something, and basically you have to categorize your issue errors two types. I will be going that in sessions as well, how to understand, analyze. So you should be having that knowledge to quickly analyze that this particular error, or you have executed something, a pipeline has been broken down, the deployment has stopped. So you should be able to understand what is the cause of this particular error, and you should also be having that knowledge to analyze whether this issue is related with the development team or this issue is related with the operations team. I'll give a simple basic example if you are able to understand. Now development team has written a code, it's a new version, and we are building it. Okay, and it is throwing some Java based errors. Okay, like some libraries are failed, or some are not available, Java platform is not available. Likewise, there are some errors that are coming, or in the Maven also, it's a build tool that we are using, and it is saying that certain dependencies are not available for this block of code. Now I clearly know that this is an error that is Java related, and this belongs to the development team. Okay, right?
yes,
So I should be dealing this with the development team, and I should be pulling them into the call, or I should be scheduling a call. If it's not production, you can schedule a call based on their availability, and then discuss with them why this error, ask them to fix this, or fix the issues, and then redeploy the code to the code base. The another part is deployment part, that is related to the operations team. And after building successfully, the Java compilation has been done, the package has been generated, and it is not able to deploy the package into a specific web server. Let's say example Tomcat server, and these Tomcat servers and all the infrastructure and other part is handled by the operation teams. So now I very clearly know that the development part, whatever code they have written, it is successfully executed, but the application is not being deployed to the uh, dedicated environment. So which is handled by the operations team. So now I know this issue has to be dealt with the operations team. So likewise, we gain knowledge, okay, and we act as a bridge, and we are the guys who are eliminating the uh, communication gap between the development teams and operation teams, and we would be working closely with both of them. And this working style depends from company to company. Okay, in some companies you will be a part of operations teams, you have to take care of infrastructure like AWS and other infrastructure and maintaining the environment, so you have to carry out those responsibilities. And in some organizations they'll hire you, people with development knowledge as well. So they'll ask you like, do you have any knowledge on Java development, and along with AWS, they'll hire you with that as well, and you have to perform both the activities. So again, as I said, it varies from requirement to requirement, and organization to organization, and project to project.
Hello, sir.
okay. Thank you. Got
Okay.
it.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
And Navin here.
Yes, Navin.
Yeah, sir. Actually, my question is, sir, actually, what actually AWS role in DevOps, sir?
So I think you missed my point. I will clearly explained you. So
Okay.
all these tools that are we are learning or that organizations are implementing
Okay.
to run these tools, obviously they have to be installed somewhere, right? In some servers.
Okay.
If organizations are maintaining their own data center, they have to maintain a lot of resources. I gave you a list of resources like networking team, system administrators, OS administrators, middleware team, networking team. All these resources have to be hired and they have to take care of their data center. But if all these tools have been migrated and pushed to cloud, you need not require to worry about maintaining all the infrastructure. The cloud will provide you the infrastructure. You just start installing and working on your tools, right?
Yeah, sir. For one more question, sir, actually, my question is that, like what you mentioned in the course content, that is required for the learning AWS, or we can able to learn for more on that, sir. I'm saying about only related to DevOps, related to only the AWS course content is there, or else we can able to like learn more other than the, what you mentioned is course content, sir. Like I'm saying about AWS.
Okay, just let me give you the overview. Like we are covering VPC,
Okay.
EC2, and then S3, IAM roles, SNS, CLI, CloudTrail, CloudWall, Chalarams, Cloud Monitoring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is pretty much.
Okay.
Do you know? Do you have any idea about AWS certifications?
Yeah, actually, I know some services in AWS. Actually, I'm having around 2 years experience in Linux admin, sir.
Okay.
So I know about like services like VPC, S3, and cloud, like cloud. You mentioned the cloud trial like that, sir. And
Mhm.
SNS, SQS, those kind of service I know, but I know
So
actually.
basically,
But
if you
other
know
than
all these services, you are
yeah,
eligible to appear for AWS foundational level certification that you can clear it very easily. So
okay,
on the certification level, we are covering almost the associate level, foundational level, associate level topics.
okay,
So that
okay.
would be these are the major topics that any organization is using in AWS,
So is it
especially if
enough
they
to
are
learn,
into.
sir? AWS, or other than we can able to learn more, sir? Is enough?
So if you want to learn more topics, like what kind of topics we are talking over here, if you let me know, I can guide you whether
Okay.
this program will help you or not.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Yeah. So one more thing, sir. Like you mentioned in the like for the project, sir, you mentioned like only Java-based application only we can able to go to teach, or we can able to you can able to learn a Python-based application also, sir.
See, if you want to learn Python based applications, yes, I can give you source code to run with Python based applications as well. But again,
Okay.
that will deviate the entire training program curve. Okay.
Okay.
So if you are
Okay.
sticking just with Python, then you're
Okay.
losing out opportunities, a lot of opportunities. Okay. So
Okay.
you'll be hired only for people who have having DevOps knowledge with Python experience.
Okay.
So you out of 100 interview calls, you will get only 10 to 15 calls. So you are limiting your opportunities.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I saw some what I'm what I say, sir. Yeah, I encourage, sir, actually some it is required for mandatory skill for Python, sir, or it's like not mandatory for the learning Python for the DevOps, sir.
No, so basically, any programming knowledge, basic knowledge is not mandatory. If you have,
Okay.
that will definitely help you to clear more interviews. But it is
Okay.
not mandatory to have at least one development programming language like
Okay.
Java, Python, C Sharp. It is not mandatory
Okay. Okay.
because we are not doing the development part, right? The developers
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
there to do everything.
Okay. Fine, sir.
But if
Thank
you
you.
have that basic knowledge,
Yeah.
then it will help you out in resolving issues whenever there are failures of deploying the application or CI/CD part.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Sir, I have one more small. I want doubt.
Mhm.
Actually, it's not a doubt. Actually, at the time of learning AWS, we have to take an account in AWS. So,
Yes.
if it's required any credit card.
So basically, yes, it requires a credit card, but here we are dealing with a free tier account. Okay, in AWS, they provide you a free tier account, which is 12 months free, 1 year free, with
Okay.
certain services that can be used for certain time period. Okay, post the time period, you'll be chargeable. So I'll also make sure that you're not incurring charges in AWS, how to create AWS free tier account, how to use only free tier based services. We'll be learning that. But to create even this free tier account, you need a debit card or credit card for AWS, and they'll charge you around 2 to 4 rupees initially, and they'll return it back. This is for the purpose of billing, so they'll definitely need that.
Okay, I have debit card, but I doesn't have credit card, so no issue, right?
Yeah, no issues.
Okay, 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 sir. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, guys. Any other questions from anybody? Yeah,
Sir,
Raj.
uh,
Actually, I would like to know one thing. Like, is a DevOps team and infra team both are same or different? Like, we are using 60% of the course, like things which you mentioned in this
See, when you say
curriculum.
infrastructure team, they are
Mm.
responsible for handling the entire servers. Okay, the storage, the compute, the networking part. Okay, we are talking only this whenever we talk about infrastructure, right? So, if
Uh,
you are hired as an infrastructure team in AWS, so you need to learn only those things that will help you. Not required to learn all these Dockers, Kubernetes, and other part. But as a DevOps engineer, you should have this knowledge. But again, two different parts. The infrastructure engineering is different. DevOps engineering is different.
Terraform, we are using like maximum. Like,
Yes.
is it okay to learn these things along with that, or is it increasing the depth on Terraform will be the fine one? Like, I would like to know.
Yeah, we are giving out Terraform also as a part of this training program, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the reason is that again, nowadays organizations are looking for DevOps engineers who has cloud knowledge, so they are getting hired. Along with it, they also want to have some knowledge on infrastructure as code model. So that is the reason we have integrated Terraform also.
Okay. Like currently, I was completed like a cloud practitioner level certification, external AWS certification. Like,
Mm-hmm.
which will be the better one? Like DevOps professional level certification only available, and
Yes.
like associate solution like which will be the better one? Like solution architect one or developer one for associate level?
See, again, there are different components we are talking over here.
Mm.
When the next step for you after completion of foundational level is you have developer, AWS developer, as well as AWS solutions architect associate, right?
Ah,
That is the second
yes.
stage. At the
Mm.
professional level, you have AWS solutions architect professional, and you also have AWS professional DevOps engineer course. So, if you are taking a part of completely, you are planning to be within AWS, then you go
Mm.
with AWS developer or solutions architect associate. But if
Okay.
you are planning to be both on completely like 50% into DevOps and 50% into AWS, then you do the DevOps. That particular
But
certification is entirely different, that it does not have anything to do with these DevOps tools. Okay. Why is, even in AWS, you have certain services that are used to implement DevOps. Have you heard about AWS code build, code commit, code deploy?
actually, we are using this code where, like, when we push the code to the GitHub, there, like, we are checking in code build whether it is failing or like a build feature,
Yes. So
pipelines we are
exactly
checking.
that certification program, AWS professional DevOps engineering certification, will help you to understand a complete CI/CD integration, a complete DevOps practices limited within AWS ecosystem.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, can you please suggest me like developer one for I had very less experience, like only like near to like
I
1 year,
think,
1 month only.
yeah, I think I'll ask the Kalyan team to have a call with you separately, because this is not the right platform to discuss that one to one.
Okay.
I'll have a separate call. I'll ask him to get in touch with you to schedule a call. We'll discuss that.
Okay. Okay. Sure. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Guys, any other questions? Guys, do not see another important that I want you guys after enrollment. Okay, I want to have you guys to ask me a number of questions. Okay, there are only two things that any person who is giving training can understand. If you keep quiet, there are only two options for me that I need to come to a consideration. Whether you have understood everything and you're keeping quiet, and the other part is you didn't understand anything. That is the reason you're keeping quiet. Okay, so always have to try to have some interaction with me. Try to, even it's a basic question. See, everybody are in the learning curve. It's not some something that I would think that you're asking basic questions, or it is sometimes you may feel that this is silly question. If you have something on your mind, please put it up. Okay, that is the first thing that you always try to understand, and you'll achieve good things with that. Okay, do not think that others may think something and this is a silly thing or other thing. Even myself, when I started, basically to understand, I'm not from IT background. I'm not a science student. Okay, basically I'm from medical background. Like my graduation is into biotechnology. I'm not at all completely from. I didn't have this knowledge right from my college days or something. So it happened. The transition happened. Even I struggled a lot to learn all these tools. I struggled a lot to learn a lot. So it happens with that. So even if it's a basic question, I do not mind answering that. I do not feel offended or that you're wasting time. I'll try to answer it, but you have to speak it in the first place. Okay. So yes, guys. Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Another here.
Yes, Anwar.
So, I want to ask after doing this course of
Mhm.
DevOps, we will get hired as what will be the designation? How we can work as a developer or as an associate or as a DevOps analyst, or what would be it?
So basically, you will be entitled for two major roles. That is DevOps engineer and DevOps with cloud engineer, like AWS engineer. And the designation varies from organization to organization. Okay, that cannot be put it up in a single statement that every organization will give you only this designation. And
Mhm.
some organizations have a different practice. Like there, some people they call them associates, mid level engineer, senior associate, senior engineer. Some people, some organizations have a different pattern. They call with 4 years guy as a senior associate. They call with 5 years experience. They call manager. We can't be predictable, but you will be eligible to appear interviews like into DevOps as well as cloud.
Okay. So, DevOps with AWS or DevOps with Azure, if we want to do this, so do we need that type of certification, like Azure certification or DevOps or GCP? What?
See, basically, to clear your interviews and to start your career, certifications will help you like only 5 to 10%. They'll make
Mhm.
you outstandable. If like 100 applications are coming and you are certified, you will be starting first. Okay, that much only can be done, but not the remaining 99 are not worthwhile. So you have to have that knowledge, and again, it's up to you what type of learning curve that you have to go with, like DevOps with AWS or Azure DevOps, because nobody learns. Only little people have learned DevOps with Azure. Okay,
Mhm.
so that meant what I meant is like, yeah, we have over here. This is the uh, okay. One second. So these are all the tools, and we are combining with AWS. But only
Mhm.
few people combine all these tools with Azure cloud.
Okay.
But Azure DevOps is entirely different. Okay, they
Mhm.
have everything in one place, and they are giving it as a simple service for them. So Azure DevOps is entirely different, where all the tools that we are learning, like source code management, build tool, everything falls in one place, and that is what we call Azure DevOps. It's entirely different.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, I think I do have because I'm a trainer on Azure as well.
Mhm.
So if you can see my screen, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Azure DevOps portal where no other tools are required for me over here. So if I'm talking about source code management, I have repos where I'll work with Git, GitHub, and all commands I can use over here. and I'll start working with it. And I can also see commits, pushes, branches, everything. All functionalities available for me to me over here. And I'm talking about CI/CD. I have pipelines over here, various pipelines that I can create, and I can start working with them. And if I'm talking about deployment, I have deployment groups, and if I have releases for various versions of cycles, I have everything is for me in one place. Okay, like
Okay.
artifacts, test plans for testing and artifacts. Everything over here is in one place. So
Hmm.
this is entirely new dimension of DevOps, which comes as a package in one service into Azure. So this
Okay.
Azure DevOps program is entirely different. So do not
Mhm.
get confused.
Okay.
Sir, I think that somebody told that Azure is no.
Sorry, I think
Hello, sir. Somebody
yes.
told that Azure normally using for IoT application. Is there any truth in that, or
I don't know who that somebody is,
some?
but see,
Yeah.
all the tools can be used for various purposes. It depends on the organization, it depends on the project requirement, what they want to use. Okay, so it is not limited to anything.
Okay.
Okay, guys, only few people are speaking. I don't know
Uh,
how.
Yeah, hello,
Hello.
sir. Hello, am I
Yeah,
audible?
Venkatesh. So just give us time so that others can also speak. Yeah,
Yes,
Venkatesh.
sir. So, what will be the job responsibility given to the entry level DevOps and a mid level DevOps or a senior level DevOps? Can you explain that?
There is no such thing in DevOps, junior level, mid level, senior level. Okay, I'm
Okay.
being honest and blunt. So there
Mm-hmm.
is no such thing. If you have 1 year of experience, you
Yeah.
do the same DevOps activities. You
Mm-hmm.
have 6 years of experience into DevOps, you do the same activities. You have 10 years of experience. Of course, we cannot have 10 years, but still, I'm telling you for the purpose of the question, you still do the same activities. There is no
Okay.
any discrimination of junior, mid, and senior. But the catch is, if you are 1 year of experience, you are limited to only certain issues that you have seen within this 1 year of time. Okay, you may not see more errors, you may not see
Mm-hmm.
more challenges, you may not see more issues with the deployment or code or cloud. Okay, if you say mid level, like 2 to 3 years, you are around these 3 years, you have seen various projects, various deployment, various issues. So the organization can expect, if something goes wrong, that you would be helpful for them, because you already have 3 years of experience. You might have come across this particular issue and you'll be able to solve it. Similarly, with higher experience like 6 to 7 years, the same process, but there is no any such kind of categories like junior, mid, or senior.
All right. All right.
Sir,
Okay,
also I
okay,
have one more small question.
okay.
Actually, there is any tool in DevOps or AWS for creating sprint plans for a project or anything like that?
Yeah, in DevOps we are already learning Jira, right?
Oh, I see. Okay. Jira is using for that. Okay. Fine. That is very fine. Okay.
Okay, guys. If no more questions, Kalyanji, can I end? I mean, can we stop the session if they don't have any more questions?
Yes, sir, sure.
Hello.
Okay, guys. Yes,
Uh,
Anurag.
yeah, one more question. So, as I working as an application support and I want to switch in DevOps, so how much package I can expect after this switch? Because I
So,
already plus experience, like we can say 7 years of experience in IT, but I do have experience as an application support. Like I work on Linux, SQL, Jenkins, all this. So, can you
uh,
guide me on this? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a kind of tricky question. I don't know whether I should be able to discuss on this platform. So it depends on your experience, how much you are keeping, and also it depends on are you using your current experience to showcase the DevOps experience, and you're currently having certain package, then you can expect 30 to 40% hike on that particular package if it is a service-based company. But if it is a product-based company, you can expect a lot more on your current packages. Like say example, now out of 7 years, I'm showing like 3 years of experience into DevOps, and my current package is 6 lakhs because of my previous designation. The current company which might be hiring, sometimes they can give you up to 12 lakhs, which is 100% hike on 6 lakhs. Or sometimes they may go beyond 12 lakhs and they may give you a 14 or 15 also, considering my experience. It all there are certain things that you have to discuss. I think we can take this off the record and we can discuss it separately one to one.
Okay, sure, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Kalyanji, I think thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Hope there was a beautiful demo we had and good interaction with you guys. Uh, Hoping in the positive response. I think I'll take the leave. Kalyanji, we can end the session if they have no more questions. And
Sure,
if
sir.
you
Sure,
have
sir.
still any
Thank you.
Thanks for
questions,
the session, sir.
Thank you,
if
sir.
you still have any questions and didn't get time to discuss the questionnaire, you can contact the management team and they'll be helpful to connect with me and I'll be able to clear that.
Okay,
Yes, sir. We
sure.
already shared the contact details in the chat box. Anyone having any other questions, please feel free to contact us.
Okay, sir, can you ask you one more thing, that when we start planning to start this, which week?
Yeah, Kalyanji, you can answer that question from when we are planning this, and also from when we start the regular sessions. You can tell them.
Yeah, sure, sir. Rashid, sir, you can contact me, which I shared my number in chat box. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. I already
Thank you
copied.
so much, sir. Thanks for
Okay,
understanding.
thank you
Good
very
day,
much,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Good day, sir.
Yeah,
And
thank you,
good night.
thank you, guys.